We are back broadcasting live with another Johnnie Torch live show. And here we are, stately Torch Tower once again on the only way to spend your Saturday. Here with us on Johnnie Torch Live. Big 150th broadcast today. Oh, yes. The 150th live show that we've done since we've started doing live shows. I mean, I used to try to do small, and they probably were more economical and easier for people to digest. But we've done pretty well for ourselves in the past few months. We've got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you very much. I'm eternally grateful. And the viewership has picked up significantly, and I'm very thankful for that. But we are going to talk today on a very special edition of Johnnie Torch Live about my passion project, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. I've talked about it before in broad terms, but we haven't really gotten into it, talked about the characters, talked about this. It's surprising that I haven't really done a show focusing on it. And I think it's because it's difficult when there's no one to sort of interview you and sort of converse with you about it. But I've done many a convention where I've made my pitch. So even if this might not be a lengthy broadcast in comparison to some of the other shows we do, I'm going to try to go and give a pretty decent overview of the series, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. We have more to discuss first, and I do have the chat room open. I'm not expecting a lot of interaction, but if you won't have any questions about the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, I will entertain them. Again, a reason why we had last week off, of course, because it was Blessed Easter Sunday, and happy Easter to each and every one of you out there belatedly, if you were observing. And so we've been off for a week, and in that time, I haven't really kept up with the news for a Torch News Roundup. And also, I want to stay away from, news sites because I haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet. So obviously, I don't want to frequent any, comic sites or anything that might uh, give spoilers and speculations about the MCU and so forth. So again, I thought this was also the best time to talk about Bullets Bourbon because I haven't too much other news to talk about. All right, so we will get to the overview of the series to begin with, but first, oh yes, we are going to talk about the Johnnie Torch New England Coffee is for Closers 2019 tour. So I've affectionately dubbed this convention season tour as the Coffee is for Closers New England tour 2019. Of course, if you haven't seen Glenn Ross, that might not mean anything to you. You can check out the clip on YouTube. Just be prepared for some very salty language, which I don't promote. But it is a very enlightening message from Alec Baldwin in that clip, and I sort of tongue in cheek, of course, took it to heart. Last year, we didn't really have a name for the tour, although I kind of unofficially called it the Who Wants to Walk with Johnnie Torch tour, which, after Elias, WWE's Elias. But we're calling this one the Coffee is for Closers, and hopefully we're going to close a lot of deals, get a lot of books into the hands of a lot of comic readers. We're going to start our tour next week, 1 week from today. So I'm telling you right off the bat that I'm probably not going to do a live show next week because I'm going to be doing a live convention appearance. I'm going to be appearing at the Peabody Institute Library's 3rd annual PillCon. Was there last year for the 2nd annual, and it's a great show. It's a library show, so it's free to the public. It's all ages, and it's a nice, quieter venue where you can just look at the independent uh, comic creators and their wares. And seen a lot of friends from previous conventions there last year, so hoping to see them again. It is going to be at the Peabody Institute Library Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to to 4 p.m. So be sure to check it out if you are in the New England area, Peabody, Massachusetts. That is the Peabody Institute Library, 82 Main Street, Peabody, Massachusetts. And you can check the link in the description below for my website. You will find the information there. If I said it too fast for you to get a pen and pencil or something, but that is our first stop. And that, like I said, is a very enjoyable convention. I think you'll like it. They have some workshops there as well, and different things for the kids. I'm not into speaking on panels and working in workshops, even though it looks like a lot of fun. I'd like to do it one of these days, but again, I'm a closer. I gotta close. I gotta get some books sold. I want to get these books into the hands of as many people as possible, and I can't do that if I am leaving the stall unattended. Maybe if I get some helpmates, maybe I'll take a panel one of these days. But I've got to I got to keep my finger on the pulse of the comic book buyer. All right, so then moving on, the only other confirmed one that I have on the tour so far after PillCon will be in September. September 14th and 15th, we will be triumphantly returning to the Granite State Comic Con, which is a great Comic Con, another great show. I really had a ball there last year. It's run by the guys from Midnight Comics, I believe. I can't remember their names individually right this moment. Apologies to them, but they run a great show. This will be in Manchester, New Hampshire. Again, September 14th and 15th. It's a 2-day show, back-to-back days. I'm sure to be handing out more swag than ever before at the Granite State Comic Con. And again, that is Manchester, New Hampshire. So if you are in the area, you're going to want to check this one out because it is the best Comic Con in the state of New Hampshire by far. Beyond that, my dance card is still open. If you have a comic convention that you think I would be interested in or that you care to invite me to, I'd be open for it. Let's see. I have some applications open. I've got an application open to Mice Expo, which I did 2 years ago now, which is also a very good show. And wait a minute. Hunter Iggy is in the chat. Hunter, I seen you said something, but I can't talk about Avengers Endgame spoilers because I haven't seen the movie yet. So I'm not going to check out your chat because I don't want it spoiled. So I'm not ignoring you, but I'm just telling you right now, I can't read Avengers Endgame spoilers. But I am going to do a Avengers Endgame review. I'm going to see it on Tuesday. So I am imagining probably Wednesday I'll do a show, and it's probably going to be a long show because the movie is 3 hours, right? So I'm probably going to be doing a long show, plenty of time to ask a lot of questions, and I'm going to get into it with as many people as possible. Hopefully a lot of people show up, and we'll talk Avengers Endgame. But for now, we're going to be talking about the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. And as I was saying, I've got the Mice Expo application in. I was there 2 years ago, and it's a very good show for the independent creator. They really cater to the independent creator a lot. And, I hope that the application will be accepted, but I have a feeling they like new faces. I don't think they really want to bring back people who've been there before unless perhaps they're extremely popular. I don't know, but I don't expect really to get that one. So if there is another convention, if you're a convention manager or something, give me a DM, hit me up, let's see what we can do, and I'd be happy to check it out. All right, so we're going to talk about the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. This is the latest issue, which is being worked on right now. I'm a little disappointed that it's not going to be available in time for the PillCon, but it is in the works. So if I see you at PillCon, I will give you my email so that you can order the issue as soon as it arrives. But this is the cover. This is the new cover. We're christening the cover for the first time here on Johnnie Torch Live. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the main protagonists of the series. Of course, Bullets Bourbon here located in the gray and blue. That's his traditional outfit, the fedora and trench coat. And this is funny. It's scratched out Private Eye and it says Secret Agent because in this episode, in these three issues 4, 5, and 6, he's pressed into service as a secret agent. Now, he was actually going back to when I created Bullets Bourbon. I created the character back when I was 13, not too long ago because I'm only 25. But and if you believe that, I've got some real estate to sell you. But I created him about at the age of 13, and I was considering making him a secret agent. That was sort of the original initial concept of the character. But I kind of felt that genre was tapped out. There's James Bond, and then there's all these sort of offshoots, the parodies, and all kinds of different things that has been done in the secret agent genre. And I don't know. I just felt that there needed to be something more original for me to really sink my teeth into. And of course, making him a private eye was the obvious choice because it was a lot of fun to use the noir and private eye trappings visually. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot more, visually expansive. I could do a lot more things than just sort of a tuxedoed playboy type. It looked a lot better to have a guy in a trench coat, a fedora, sort of, some early influences being Dick Tracy, but mostly just cosmetically. I kind of feel more that he's a cross between Indiana Jones and Sherlock Holmes. That's kind of the way I've described him in the bio on my website. He has the rough and tumble heroics of an Indiana Jones, the intellectual mind of a Sherlock Holmes, and sort of the insecurities of Charlie Brown, which makes him a very unique character. And I think you'll see a good mix of those three, especially his Charlie Brown eccentricities, perhaps, in this story. Now, this is a 3-issue series, and the third part of it will be out, as I said, in the coming month. So we're hyping it a little early, but keep your eyes open on the website, and we will see what happens. This is called When the Night Comes. Of course, a nod to Joe Cocker. But again, knight meaning knight in shining armor. Of course, I was a big fan of the '80s shows as a kid. Knight Rider, The A-Team, MacGyver, and some of the '70s shows that I seen in reruns, such as The Incredible Hulk, classic Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers. So basically, I grew up with all this great television, this great action adventure television. And I pretty much had all this stuff cogitating in my brain as a child for, a good dozen years. And then when I was 13 and I started, wanting to create my own comics, this is what I did. I mean, I'd drawn comics as a 6-year-old doing stick figures and stuff of the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. But I wanted to create my own character, and the action hero, it's something that kind of was lost after the '80s. I think in the '90s television, you didn't focus on the action hero. And sort of today, we still don't have the action hero, particularly on television. I mean, you might have it in the movies to some extent. I think that's kind of what happened in the '90s. The action hero went more big screen with like the diehards and stuff like that. But on the small screen now, you have sort of like team shows where it's like you need to have the hacker, you need to have the weapons expert, you need to have, the figurehead, the boss type thing. But we don't really have sort of the guy that's just out there by himself, rough and tumble, solving problems by the seat of his pants. That doesn't really happen too much anymore. And so I think now more than ever, it's probably Bullets Bourbon's time to shine because this is really where it's needed in the action adventure genre. So what I set about to do was to make the comic book adaptation of the television series I would have loved to have watched as a kid. Which means this is sort of what I would do for a TV series, but doing it in a format where I am completely in charge. I do all the writing, drawing, inking, coloring, lettering, And so it's easy because all I need is paper and pencil. If I was to do this as an actual movie, I would need a lot more help. Or as a television series, I would need a lot more help. Hopefully, we can get an animated series out of this. That would be really cool. And if you have any suggestions in the comments below, I'd love you to recommend who do you think would play the voices of some of these characters. That would be a lot of fun to speculate. We're going to see some more pages of the interior, but first I'm going to try to talk about some of the characters. We talked about Bullets Bourbon. Also over here we have Carrot Top, which is sort of obvious. Carrot Top, of course, is the criminal genius mastermind, and he is Bullet's most dangerous adversary. He is frighteningly brilliant as well as deadly. He is a master chemist and creates, no no dearth of problems for our hero. He, of course, is attended to by his major domo, so to speak, Pickle Puss, which was his childhood friend and sort of his right hand man. Although, as Carrot Top would call him, he's a rather lacking lackey. He is not too bright, but he is very energetic and puppy-like, and that's sort of an old trope where you have the criminal genius and sort of the you know mentally lightweight henchman. But he is unswaveringly loyal and a lot of fun to write their uh, their banter back and forth. A lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun banter, we have to the right of the cover, all the way at the right, we have uh, Detective Scotch, Horatio T. Scotch, portraying himself, as you see in the title card down there. And he is a lot of fun to write as well because he is Bullet's rival. He is a rival detective, and he has sort of an acid wit and sharp, witty demeanor, and he never ceases to make quips at Bullets Bourbon, usually at his expense. And he's a lot of fun. I kind of based the character on the sort of sarcastic comedian of like the 40s. Sort of think of like a Groucho Marx mixed with some Bob Hope, and I kind of sort of set him and Bullets up as sort of a Hope and Crosby esque um, rivalry, where one is always trying to top the other, and uh, he's very vain and egotistical, of course, Scotch, and it makes for a very interesting pairing. I love to use him whenever I can. I don't know how often I'm going to be able to use him in the future, but he is a fun recurring character. Of course, at the top of the page, we have Pencil Neck, the most deadly assassin of all time. He makes his enemies disappear. As you can see, he's trying to make bullets disappear, but unfortunately, someone should have told him that's not the bullets he's looking for. He is erasing our title. But he is mad as a March hare, and that is always fun to write. And in this very episode, in this three-part episode, we have him teaming up with Bullets Bourbon. We have him teaming up with Carrot Top against Bullets Bourbon in our first ever villain team up. I always loved those as a kid when you have two main villains teaming up against the hero. But that's not all. We also have at the bottom of the cover Sour Note, who is the murderous maestro, and he is quite a he cuts quite a figure, doesn't he, with his toothy grin and glaring baleful eyes, and he has the most lovely singing voice. I mean, the man is a deadly killer, but he has a lovely singing voice. As you can see in his speech, there is always in his speech balloons. There is always the musical notes, meaning that it sounds like a piano concerto every time he speaks. And his main interest, he is also joining this team against Bullets Bourbon in this most dangerous of cases that Bullets must face. His main interest is in the lovely Desiree Miller, who we see behind Bullets. She is the lovely starlet that Bullets is mightily smitten with. And it's a very moving tale of how he would try to woo her, but you'll have to read to see how that goes. But Sour Note, of course, wants to kidnap Desiree for himself, and things go a bit awry for Bullets as he is going to Carrot Top's main complex undercover in his new role as a secret agent. And the plot of the story is that Carrot Top has synthesized the erasing powers and capabilities of Pencil Neck's eraser on the top of his head and made a missile that he is planning to use to rub out the nation's capital during the State of the Union address, which would destroy all branches of government and all politicians and would allow him to set up his own dictatorship and take over the country. And with the missile at his disposal, he would be able to theoretically take out every single nation on the face of the earth. So the stakes, as they say, are pretty high. Okay, so let's take a look at some other images here. First up, let's see. We also have in this story, we have these are some of our other characters. This is to the left, Chubby O'Reilly, affectionately nicknamed Chubby, Pat O'Reilly, the officer. He is one of Bullet's best friends, as well as to his left, our right, Joe Thursday, the sergeant of Stark City's stellar police force. And they are quite shocked at what goes on in this issue, as you will see when you see it for yourself. And they don't have a big part to play in this particular episode because Bullet's going undercover and he's working with with the secret agency. But they're basically my comedy team for the series. I grew up with a lot of, classic comedy, Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, and that very strongly influenced my creating these two as a comedy team for the book. They are always there to sort of get a laugh and be his support, Bullets Bourbon support when needed. And this gentleman here with the beret, of course, is Colonel Krenna, who, of course, is a amusing parody for Colonel Troutman in the Rambo series. And he is the one that is setting Bullets off on this dangerous mission. He is the what would you call it? I guess the director of the American Bureau against Crime and Banditry. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's a long name. These secret agencies have to have long names. But yeah, he's the director of the American Bureau against Crime and Banditry. And they press Bullets Bourbon into service. They've given him a number and taken away his name so that he can foil this plot. And they have some operatives that are going to try to help him, but Bullets is a one-man show. He doesn't need anyone else, and he's going to have to brave this one alone. Three dangerous supervillains going up against him. And also, you've got to remember that he has an army. Carrot Top has a army of flunkies, tacticians, and other men at his disposal. And it's going to be quite something to see if he can pull it off this time. All right, we're also going to look at, let's see. This is a very exciting moment here where Bullets finds himself strapped to the Eraserhead missile and will be launched when the missile is launched into the stratosphere to his doom. Will he survive? Will he escape? And can he manage to overcome the insurmountable odds against him? This, of course, is fun. You see, Carrot Top's a lot of fun to write because he is he's a character all unto himself. He doesn't really want to see Bullets destroyed. He really wants to see him on his side, because Karatov believes that everybody has a price, and he believes that if he can sway you over to his side, so much the better, because he'd rather have an ally than an adversary, because he wants to use as many people that have the capabilities that he needs, and it's far less taxing than having to destroy them and do away with them. So he is kind of, as he says, a sentimental soul, and not really wanting to see Bullets bite the dust. But Pencil Neck is not quite as emotional. He's quite satisfied to see Bullets out of the way as it is. Okay, and let's see. Another scene we have takes place in Carrot Top's office. Bullets taking on the deadly Sour Note, and Sour Note with his murderous razor-sharp laser discs, as Bullets tries to save Desiree from Sour Note's sinister designs. And I really enjoyed drawing Bullets in the Spider-Man-esque pose. That was a lot of fun. And Carrot Top is none too pleased with Sour Note's lack of aim there. I'm going to take a sip of water if you'll just pardon me for a second. But, all right, let's see. We have another image. We got one more. Just beautiful artwork, if I do say so myself. A lot of time and effort goes into these, and it takes me like about 6 months to get an issue done. I wish I could get them done even faster. Let's see. And, of course, there is the climactic battle to the death with Pencil Neck. Will it be a battle to the death, or whose death? If it is a battle to the death, we will find out in this issue. So it looks like Bullets is up against it in a very large manner, as they say. So again, check out the link in the description below. You can find a 4-page preview of our 5th issue, which is on sale right now. And as I said, in about probably 2 weeks' time, maybe 3, our final issue in the 3-part saga will be released, and you'll get to see what happens to Bullets in this climactic clash of good versus evil. Will he win the heart of Desiree Miller? Will he defeat the plans of the nefarious Carrot Top? Will he survive his battle with Pencil Neck? Well, you'll have to find out. And I'm hoping, the plan is to maybe do an Indiegogo and see if I can get all 3 issues out as one big graphic novel. So that's something I'm looking at doing next. As for the first 3 issues, that is going to be a little more difficult. That is going to be more time consuming if I was to put those 3 together and make a graphic novel, because the first issue is colored with pencils and markers, which means I would have to go back to scratch and color the whole book by itself. And that's going to be something that would take away probably 6 months of time that I could be spending on doing issue 7. So I don't really want to look backwards too much. This one is not too difficult to put together for an Indiegogo campaign, because I only have to re-letter the 4th issue and do some minor color corrections to the 4th and 5th issue. But that should only take about a month. So I'll be looking into that, and I'll certainly give you some more info when the time comes, if I do get the Indiegogo up, the campaign. But until then, I want you to remember, here we've got the PillCon, 3rd annual PillCon next Saturday, the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on Johnnie Torch Live, and I will be there live, not broadcasting, but you will be able to meet me live. And I'll be signing copies of the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, and giving away some swag. I still got some swag left from last year's conventions, and I'm going to have to replenish that supply probably after this show. But yeah, if you can't make it there, be sure to check out my website in the description below, and you will find out my next stop on my Johnnie Torch Coffee is for Closers 2019 New England Comic Con tour. So, as I said, check the link in the description below for my link to Indie Planet, where you can order The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below once you have done so. And I hope to see you there. This has been a stellar 150th broadcast. And like I said, I didn't think it was going to go too long. But once again, we are very thankful that you're watching, you're subscribing. Be sure to share, hit that like button. Make sure you tune in for our Saturday shows. As I said, I'm going to try to do some more shows coming up. We'll probably do a Torch News Roundup next. No, see, let's see. I don't know when the next Torch News Roundup will be, because we've got on Wednesday, there'll be the Avengers Endgame broadcast. I'll be doing a spoiler review. And then after that, I'm not doing a show Saturday because we have the PillCon convention. But I also want to check out Cobra Kai Season 2, so we're going to do a review of that once I've seen it. I haven't been able to see it yet because I've been so busy. I've been working around the clock to get this issue out. And as I said, it should be out in a matter of weeks. But we'll tentatively say sometime in the middle of the following week, let's say a week and a half, there probably will be a Torch News Roundup. But until next we meet, this is Johnnie Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.